Hello students, myself Monotosh Dey, your English helpline on the go. Today I shall discuss a poem from Flamingo. The poem under discussion today is Keeping Quiet, written by Pablo Neruda. Before I begin, let me give you a short introduction of the poet, which will be followed by theme of the poem, stanza-wise explanation, literary devices and recapitulation. So dear friends, let's begin. Pablo Neruda is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Basalto, born in the town of Padal in Chile. He adopted his pen name in 1920 in the memory of Czechoslovak poet Jan Neruda. His poetry bears an impact on his political activities and conveys his experiences in repression during his exile. He wrote over 140 poems. He traveled across the world for many years and returned to Chile in 1943. In 1945, he joined the Communist Party of Chile and became Senator of the Republic. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. In this poem, he talks about the necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Now, let's move to the theme of the poem. The poem highlights the need for quiet introspection and mutual human understanding. The poem stresses on building a peaceful and harmonious world. The poem also appeals for fostering the spirit of brotherhood among the people of the world. The poem appeals us to stop waging war against indiscriminate exploitation of Mother Earth for vested interests. The poem shows concern on isolation of human beings resulting out of their selfishness. The poem strongly condemns nuclear and chemical wars and victory with no human survivors. So now let's move on to line by line explanation of the poem. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Now, dear students, let me explain you the meaning of these lines. The poet wants us to keep quiet after a countdown of 12. He does not want us to move our arms very much. The poet wants us not to move our arms so much because physical activity will divert us from being silent. Not moving our arms also suggests stopping the use of all kinds of weapons. The literary device pan is used here while talking about arms. Now let's move on to lines 7 to 10. It would be an exotic moment. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Now let me explain you the meaning of these lines. When people all over the world, irrespective of their religions, languages and nationalities, will remain quiet for a while, they will experience moment of peace and quietness. On that day, human beings would not go to work and no industry, factory, vehicles will work on that day, which is indicated by the word in the poem, engines. They will undergo blissful experience of universal spirit, which is present in all human beings. The poet means to say that only when we shall introspect in silence, we shall feel the need for fostering universal brotherhood with one another. So now let's move on to lines 11 to 14. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hard hands. The poet means to say that the fishermen on that day would not cause any damage to whales in the sea. Here the poet is urging everyone not to harm the animals. Here he cites an example of whales which are being hunted for the purpose of food or trade. The man gathering salt would also introspect that in the process of salt gathering, he has caused injuries to his hands. Metaphorically speaking, it means that in the mad rush for human beings to attain material things, they have caused damage to their health. So now let's move on to lines 15 to 21. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Now let me explain you the meaning of these lines. In these lines, the poet has become optimistic or hopeful while imagining a situation when even those who wage war against nature, which is indicated by green wars in the poem, and those who indulge in the war with chemical and nuclear weapons of mass destruction will also foster the spirit of brotherhood and give up the spirit of animosity for fellow human beings. They would develop brotherly feelings with others and live amicably in peace and harmony. Now let's move on to lines 22 to 25. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no talk with death. The poet means to say that what you want is not suspension of all activities during the process of remaining silent. We should introspect by being silent so that we are able to understand why there is so much misunderstanding among human beings. To bring all activities to a halt is only to facilitate introspection and not to bring life to a standstill. Life is an ongoing process and humanity should move on. That is, humanity should carry on with their work. Now, let's move on to lines 26 to 32. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Now, let me explain you the meaning of these lines. The poet means to say that as human beings are so determined about his own progress in life by owning more and more things, they have become mechanical and have no time to introspect. Hence, they need to introspect by being silent so that they would certainly know why there is so much conflict and violence in the world. The race for more arms and ammunitions and the desire to overpower and dominate over more and more areas and countries is what has threatened mankind with death. Now, let's move on to lines 33 to 37. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. Now let me explain you these lines. The seeds that lie dormant throughout winter germinate or come to life with the arrival of spring. It appears as if nature is vibrant and throbbing with life. Therefore, the poet is optimistic or hopeful about the outcome of introspection. Like the earth throbs with life when the spring comes, likewise, man gets new direction in life, the direction of being peaceful, empathetic, and forgiving as an outcome of introspection. So now we have come to the end of the explanation of the poem. My dear students, follow my blog for questions and answers. www.literaturewithmonotosh.blogspot.com. Kindly subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for notification of every new video that I upload for you.